Hi, have you ever asked yourself how death penalty works and what's the public opinion about it? In this project, we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to align this public opinion with the realism theory in international relations.
The death penalty is a highly divided international issue with clear divides. Some regions, like parts of the Middle East, Asia, and the US, still use it, while Europe, Latin America, and part of Africa have abolished it. Critics argue it's a violation of human rights, irreversible and ineffective as a deterrent. Let's start by giving a context of what capital punishment is. Capital punishment is a practice of sentencing people to death for serious crimes known as capital crimes. The specific crimes eligible for the death penalty are determined by law set by Congress or state government.
Another important definition to understand is death row. Death row refers to the incarcerated people that have been sentenced to death and are waiting for their execution. The time that is waited on death row is extremely long. Now, to the actual times, prisoners have to wait over 20 years for their death. Is death penalty only used for murder? In the US, it is primarily used for murder. However, there are two people that have been on death row for non-murder offenses. This, of course, leads to the question, should death penalty be used in every crime, only severe, or never? We have that the majority of people agree that it should be used only in severe crimes, with 57.6%. People that agree that it should never be used are 36%, and people that think that it should be used in all crimes are 6.4%. This aligns with the realist theory because realism prioritizes maintaining order and security within the state, and severe crimes such as murder or terrorism directly threaten social stability. So punishing them with death penalty aligns with this emphasis.
In some cultures and religious contexts, the death penalty is seen as a legitimate form of justice for severe crimes, often aligning with moral value of retribution. For example, countries in the Middle East, such as Saudi Arabia and part of Asia, continue to use the death penalty for certain offenses, believing it serves as both a deterrent and a necessary punishment. Now we can see that our graphics reveals that a significant majority, 63.5% of respondents, believe that the death penalty will not be effective or appropriate in all countries, while 20.7% are in favor of its working universally, indicating a clear divide in opinion on its global applicability.
Is death penalty effective? The main aspect of death penalty is deterrence, and deterrence is when you prevent someone from doing something by making them fear the consequences. Our graphic shows that 48.3% agree that it is effective, 36.5% don't think they're effective, and 15.3% are unsure. This aligns with realism because people see the state as a primary actor with the monopoly on the legitimate use of force. So if capital punishment is seen as effective, it aligns with the realist view that the state must exercise decisive force to maintain order in society.
Is the death penalty more effective cost-wise than jail? So the death penalty is often argued to be more cost-effective than long-term incarceration, but the reality is more complex. While executing someone may seem cheaper due to the evidence of long-term prison costs, the process leading to a death sentence is extremely expensive. Legal costs, including lengthy trials, appeals, and the need for specialized legal representation, can make the death penalty far more expensive than life imprisonment. Additionally, the costs associated with maintaining death row facilities, which often have additional security and resources due to the nature of the prisoners, further add to the financial burden. So in most cases, the death penalty is not more cost-effective than life imprisonment when accounting for all the legal, procedural, and prison maintenance costs. If we now take a look at our graphic, it reveals that 57.6% of respondents think that the death penalty is more cost-effective than life imprisonment, while 30% disagree, believing life imprisonment is more economical. Additionally, 12.3% of respondents are unsure about the cost-effectiveness comparison between the two options.
Is the death penalty applied fairly? The death penalty has faced racial disparities. In the early 20th century, 89% of executions for rape involved white victims. In the era now, where it is limited to murder cases, 75% of these victims are white, despite the fact that Black victims make up nearly half of all murders in the US. However, it is undeniable that there are still crimes that find defendants who kill white victims more likely to receive death penalty. Our graphic shows that the majority of people don't think that the death penalty is applied fairly, and then that 24.6% agree that it is, and 20.2% are unsure. This aligns with realism because realism argues that laws are enforced based on power, not fairness. So although the death penalty is disproportionate applied, whether that is due to class or race, a realist would see this as a natural consequence of power structures rather than a failure in the system.
The death penalty is carried out through various methods, each with distinct characteristics and ethical consideration. We have hanging, electrocution, lethal gas, lethal injection, or firing squad. Each method is debated based on its perceived humanity, the risk of botched executions, and ethical considerations surrounding the death penalty itself. Lethal injection is the most favored for its perceived clinical nature, but opposition to the death penalty continues to grow due to moral, legal, and practical concerns. In the survey that we proceed, we can see how people feel about the method listed. So the majority of respondents, 57%, prefer lethal injection as a method of execution. In the other hand, a significant portion, 31.5% of respondents choose none of the above, which likely reflects the growing anti-death penalty sentiment. Over the years, various arguments. The remaining portion of the respondents, presumably less than 10% for each of the methods, seems to support older or more controversial forms of execution like electrocution, hanging, lethal gas, or firing squad.
When we talk about morality and religion influencing the opinion on death penalty, it can be controversial. In the past, religions did permit capital punishment, and nowadays it is criticized. And although in the U.S. legal system, there is no religious views directly dictating laws, there is a really strong faith-based perspective that influences public opinion. So we can conclude that religious beliefs play a major role in shaping moral and ethical views on the death penalty. So it was quite surprising to see that our chart says that 54% don't agree that their religion and morality influences their opinion, and 42% do. As mentioned before, this aligns with realism as well, because it asserts that the state is the ultimate authority, and it is based on national interests rather than religious or morality. So it's power, not ethics. And the state's survival and authority matters more than morality debates. So in conclusion, death penalty can be seen through realism because realism generally emphasizes power, survival, and pragmatism. When applying these lens to the death penalty, realism can offer insights into how states justify or implement capital punishment based on power dynamics. From a realist perspective, the death penalty is seen as an expression of state power and sovereignty, as well as a deterrent against serious crime, and it is criticized for its moral flexibility, prioritizing state interest over ethical principles, but that is exactly what the theory is based on.